Hi guys, welcome to the natural language processing with Python. Mystery of natural language still needs to be solved. Natural language processing or NLP is challenging and one of the most demanding skill in the field of data science. Challenges in NPL frequently involve speech recognition, natural language understanding, and natural language generation. We generate data in several ways, like speaking, writing, messaging, and so many other ways. Majority of the data we generate exists in the text format, a highly unstructured data in nature. According to the studies, more than 80% of the available data is in unstructured form. Few very common examples of generating data in our daily life includes posts on social media, for example, Facebook, Twitter, and so on, chat conversations among users, news, blogs, research or any other type of article, books, product or service reviews, healthcare data, and much more. And other recent artificial intelligence ways include chatbots and voice driven bots. So much unstructured data. So, without processing, such as reading or understanding the text data, we cannot present the conclusions or take actions accordingly. Either we have to manually analyze this huge amount of data, which is growing exponentially with time, or we need some kind of automated system to do this data analysis for us. In order to produce actionable insights from text data, it is very important to get familiar with the techniques and principles of natural language processing. Today, NPL is a big topic and could easily fit into several courses in your college life. However, we will try to learn as much as possible using practical approach with a real dataset in this lecture. In this section, we are going to discuss and overview the basics of natural language processing. This consists of combining machine learning techniques with text and using maths and statistics to get that text in a format that a machine learning algorithm can understand. Let's work with SMS spam collection dataset. The dataset is a public set of SMS labeled messages that have been collected for mobile phone spam research. The dataset is a part of UCI machine learning repository and was donated for public use in 2012. This rich dataset contains over 5,000 instances and is a great dataset to start with NLP. You can either download the dataset from UCI website or use the one which is provided in this course material. If you decide to download from UCI website directly, you will get a folder containing dataset along with readme file, which contains the description on the dataset. So moving forward, in order to work with NLP, we need to have Python's NLTK Natural Language Toolkit installed. Instructions are provided in the lecture notes and I hope you have already installed this library. We also need to download the corpus for stop words to work with this project. For you guys to explore more on NLP, the official documentation for NLTK is always a great resource. Another very good tutorial on Scikit-learn working with text data is also a great resource. Please note, we will learn several useful concepts and their use in NLP along the way in this lecture. So let's move on to the new Jupyter notebook and start working with the real data. Supposing that you have already installed NLTK, the first thing we need to do, we need to import NLTK. So import NLTK and run this cell. NLTK comes with a collection of packages. Let's download the stop words at the moment. In order to do this, we can use download_shell method to open an interactive shell. This allows us to explore the available packages, and either we can download all or the one we need. So nltk.download, always press tab for autocomplete and shell and run this cell. So we are in the interactive shell. You can enter L to check the list of all the available packages. You can enter U for update and D for download. Let's enter D at the moment because we want to download the stop words package and run this cell. Now download which package? We need to pass in the name for that package. So stop words and run this cell. And the message is downloading package stop words to this location. Package stop word is already up to date. I am getting this message because I have already installed the package on my machine. So now we have imported NLTK and we have the stop word package installed. Let's move on and read the spam collection data file in SMS using list comprehension. Before we move on, let's quit from this interactive shell. So to quit, we need to pass in Q and run this cell. Recall the Python essential lectures where we learned about the list comprehensions. So SMS is going to be, and we are using list comprehension and line for line in, and open the file and pass in the path to that file. In your NLP folder, you have another folder, SMS spam collection. If you open this folder, you have SMS spam collection data file and readme data file. And these are the messages that you are going to read. So let's move on and pass in the path to that data file. SMS spam collection is the folder name and SMS spam collection is the data file name. Let's run this cell, and now we have all the messages in SMS. Let's see how many messages we have in list SMS. We can also reconfirm the type of SMS object as well. We can use the built-in functions len and type. So len SMS to check the length of SMS and type SMS to check the type of SMS. Let's run this cell, and here we have 5,574 messages in SMS, and the type of SMS is list. Using index location, we can display any message in SMS. We know the index starts from 0 in lists. Let's try to read the message at index 1, which is going to be the second message in this list. So SMS and pass in 1 and run this cell. Here we have ham, a tab separation, and the actual message. So what we see, the file is tab separated. The first column will be label or target with ham and spam, and the second column is going to be the actual message. Moving forward, let's use the power of pandas to read the text file in a data frame with ham, spam as target and message as SMS. Now we know we have tab separation here, so we need to pass in sep equal to tab while reading the file using pandas. So the first thing we need to do now, we need to import pandas. So import pandas as PD and run this cell. Let's enter few cells and then read the data file in data frame df. So df is going to be pd.read csv and once again pass in the path to that file. Let's copy this path from the previous code and paste it here. And now we need to pass in another parameter. Sep is going to be tab here. You can press Shift Tab and you see you have lots of options here to play with. Now let's give the column names. So names is going to be target for the target column and SMS for the actual message column. Let's run this cell and check the head of the data frame. df.head. And here we have target, ham, spam, ham, SMS, actual message. Let's call info and describe method on the data frame df. So df.info is going to be, we have 5,572 entries and we have two columns, target and SMS. So let's call describe now, df.describe, and run this cell. And here we have count 5,572 in target column and the same count in SMS column. We have two unique labels, and if we notice, there are less unique messages as compared to the actual count. This means there are repeated messages in the dataset. This makes sense, as some repeated messages could be the standard and very common messages, like sorry, I'll call you later, yes, no, and so on. Let's use describe on the grouped message as ham or spam. Recall your understanding on the group by method here. So df.groupby and pass in the column which is target column, because we want to group by the target column, and call describe after grouping the data. So df.groupby target and call describe. Let's run this cell, and here we have. Now we have a little more insight of our dataset. We see most of the messages are ham, like 4,825 ham messages, whereas 747 spam messages. The common one in ham messages is sorry, I will call you later, whereas the most common spam message is please call our customer service, and so on. And there are 4 such messages, whereas sorry, I will call you later, the frequency for this message is 30. So now we have little understanding on our dataset. Let's split our lecture here, and we will come back in the next part of this lecture with feature engineering. So see you in the next part of the same lecture. Good luck.